Help me to stay competitive against the big multinational corporations by subscribing to this channel, hitting the notification bell, liking the video, and maybe leaving a comment in the comment sections below. Thank you very much and enjoy the video. Greetings, free thinkers, welcome to the Hoggcast. Okay, have I got a doozy of a story for you today, which is an article that comes out of the Daily Mail in which the left-wing liberals are in rejoice because the Great Britain later this year is to host its first ever Muslim gay pride event, which is being funded and sponsored by the alphabet people. And, okay, how about this for cognitive dissonance? The woke leftists who are in charge of running this believe that, and I'm quoting them here, that they insist that Islamophobia will not stop them. Okay, let me tell you something, alright? Not too long ago in this country, in Birmingham, when the wokerati tried to instill their propaganda that they've been pumping around to non-Muslim children in schools, which is promoting LGBTQ woke culture, when they tried that in Muslim schools in Birmingham, they were met with immense resistance. And I think that is exactly what's going to happen here in London later this year. And not only that, but London is one of the world's biggest, bestest and primest targets for Islamist extremism. And what these people are planning to do here is doing nothing but poking a hornet's nest with a stick. And I think, personally, they are putting woke politics, of course, ahead of the safety of regular Londoners. So we're going to get into that article and we're going to see that Islamophobia is not what's going to stop them, okay? Let me tell you what's going to stop them. Muslim communities in London who are going to see this as an affront to their culture. We're also going to look at the video of the Birmingham incident. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so the article starts with bullet points in which it says the UK's first ever Muslim gay pride event will be held in London and it will be in April. Tickets will go on sale soon. It comes after Iman LGBTQI. They've added a new letter onto the alphabet, ever-increasing alphabet community. I believe the I probably means Islamic. Successfully raised £10,000 following a crowdfunding event to host this event. And not only that, they say that Islamophobia, which by the way is a made-up term, to have, and it's the same with transphobia and all these other obias and ists and obics and all of these buzzwords and labels are love to hang around your neck if you don't agree with the woke agenda. Like most of it, it is made up, okay? It is just a made up term to shut you down and to label you with something that's negative, a negative connotation, which, strangely enough, is precisely what they were accusing you and me of. Now, to have a phobia of something, you must have an irrational fear of it. Not a rational fear, an irrational fear. So, you would be scared of something for no good reason, okay? For example, it's a bit off the cuff, but I like to watch wrestling. I'm a big wrestling fan from the Attitude Era. And one of the characters in the WWE wrestling world is The Undertaker, and he has a well-known phobia of, as strange as it sounds, cucumbers. Okay, that's a phobia. Okay, an irrational fear of something. The Undertaker, who's almost 7 foot tall, who's as hard as a coffin nail, is scared of cucumbers. Okay, that's a phobia, right? Legitimate concerns about the safety of Londoners based on what is essentially a leftist woke self-flagellation event whose goal is to bring Islam and the alphabet community together in an event that I'm afraid to say in the religion itself is quite simply not tolerated. if you look at the religion and their beliefs, they are not at the point yet where they're ready to accept this type of thing openly. In fact, it is punishable by paying the ultimate price, okay? In the religion, it is punishable with your life for being a member of the alphabet community. That is just the way that particular religion is. Okay, so carrying on through the article, it says the UK's first Muslim Pride Festival will be held in London this year as Europe's leading LGBTQI Muslim charity celebrates their 20th anniversary. I'm guessing, as you can see, yet another letter has been added onto the ever-growing list of letters that are added to the alphabet community. Eventually, it will just be everything except straight white male. That's where they're headed. And apparently, this is tolerance. Apparently, this is inclusivity. It's not. It is exclusivity. Continuing. The event comes after the organisation successfully raised over £10,000, and they raised this for 467 supporters in 42 days. And we all know that the people who would have contributed to this event, I'm afraid to say, will not be Muslim themselves. It will be woke, white leftists. Okay? If 467 out of the United Kingdom's some 6 million Muslims and only 467 contributed towards it, you can see that this really isn't something that they are prepared to. They're not rejoicing. They're not holding their breath with anticipation for this event. Taking to Twitter, the group excitedly penned, "It's happening. We've set the date for the first ever Muslim Pride event. Tickets will go on sale now in 2 weeks." However, despite making the announcement just 2 days ago, the charity has already been hit with a slew of negative tweets from online trolls. Okay, let's stop there for a minute. So, these online trolls, the Daily Mail here has given no context whatsoever to who these so-called trolls are, what they're saying, and why they're saying it. For example, there could be from the Muslim community who are voicing their displeasure at this, which I know they're going to, because I know the Muslim community, and they are not going to readily accept this. It's not something that's agreeable. I wish it was, but it's not something that they agree with in their community. They're just not ready there yet. They're not as far down the road of intersectionality as that shell of a religion that was once called Christianity is. Christianity now allows people who are from the alphabet community to marry in churches right in front of the altar of God. You won't see that happening in a mosque. I can assure you of that. I mean, I know we had that one instance. It was a few years ago, and it was all celebrated here, there, and everywhere. But what they don't tell you is there was a lot of infighting in that family, but they kept, because of this issue, and they kept that out of the news, the mainstream media, because they didn't want any kind of negative context or connotation being added to this event. So these online trolls also, not only could they might be Muslim, but they might also be people like myself who are just telling it how it is and saying, look, you're inviting trouble for regular Londoners. Okay, this event is going to be a prime target for the next Islamist attack. You've told them what you're doing, what you're believing in, where you're going to be, and the date you're going to be there. This is the bit that genuinely perplexes me. And we know the mainstream media lie and take things out of context, but I'll read it anyway. After receiving a series of Islamophobic comments, the organisation insisted they wouldn't let the abuse stop them from holding the event and posted the hashtag Islamophobia will not stop us. Well, as I've said about phobias, okay, for a start, Islamophobia is not real. Islamophobia and transphobia is completely made up. To have a phobia is to have an irrational fear, like with the Undertaker from wrestling, who has an irrational fear of cucumbers. Okay? What is happening in the Western world and the idiotic decisions our globalist leaders, or so-called leaders, our hollow nut leaders are taking and allowing things to happen and be committed by people who come from cultures that are vastly different from ours. And it's like chalk and cheese, like water and oil. They just don't get on with each other. And to raise legitimate concerns like about terrorism and the blight of grooming gangs, that's not Islamophobia. That is a perfectly legitimate concern to have. And when it comes to so-called transphobia, you see all these drag time story hours and that. They always seem to be adult men dressed as women trying to get as close to youngsters in schools as possible. That also is not it's not a phobia, it's a perfectly legitimate concern that parents have, because parents love their children. Why would you not be concerned about men dressing up as women and trying to get as close to them as possible? I would, if I would do that. I would be concerned like that if I had my children as well. I would be just as concerned as the other parents. But going back to the story, these so-called Islamophobic tweets, right? They should really provide you some context here. So, a quick look on Twitter, and I've found this so-called Islamophobia. Now, the Daily Mail could have done this. They could have took 2 minutes to give you the context of the story. But, of course, they refuse to do that because they have a set narrative and they want to keep that narrative going. So, here we have Jimmy London. Jimmy says, so, at I'm an LGBTQ, etc., are holding a Muslim gay pride event to which I donated money. So this guy, he donated money to their GoFundMe page, right? Now, I remember earlier I said that it wasn't Muslims themselves who donated to get this event up and running. It was the wokerati. It was the white middle-class liberals that done this. And here's your proof. You see, just a little bit of digging is all it takes to get to the truth. So Jimmy London donated money to get this event up and running, even though he's not a Muslim himself. And for some reason, I'm blocked on their Twitter. Gay Muslims will throw ex-Muslims under the bus if it helps straight Muslims accept them more, he says. And that's true. Sorry, I was just reading that. It was going around in my mind, and I was trying to... That's why I was silent for a moment then. I was trying to... The cogs were turning. And I think he's true. I think it's right. I think they would. And that's probably why... It's probably a little bit too close to the mark, what he's been saying there. And that's probably why they've blocked him. But these are your so-called, quote-unquote, trolls. Okay? Islamophobic trolls. Jimmy London, who donated money to get this event up and running. There's your so-called troll Daily Mail. Trash mainstream media. Reading down further, I may have actually misunderstood Jimmy. Now, I'm not sure what he's saying here, but it says, can't share the actual tweet by Iman because they blocked me. They kind of hate ex-Muslims. So I'm guessing he's an ex-Muslim, though either he was a Muslim convert or his real name's not Jimmy. Nevertheless, he donated money to get this event up and running. Nevertheless, go support their right to a Muslim gay pride event. So here's your so-called trolls, okay? He has been blocked by this event and their Twitter page, okay? And not only that, but he is still saying go and support them. He's still singing their praises. He's saying go and support them anyway, right? There you go, Daily Mail. There's your so-called troll. He's still saying go and support them, even though they've blocked him just for having a minor disagreement about something they said or they feel or they believe. And he's still supporting them. There's your context, Daily Mail. What you're doing, Daily Mail, and it's not just... And I can't believe I used to read the Daily Mail. I used to actually value the Daily Mail. And this is the thing. You mainstream media organisations, what you don't understand is you're sullying your reputation past the point of no return. I used to pay for your newspaper every day. That went towards your wages. I got so sick of your false narratives and your misinformation and your fake news that I, along with so many other people, stopped dipping into my pocket to pay for your paper. You see what this is what happens when news comes second to a constructed false narrative.
Harming the community that I grew up.
But Jess Phillips, you didn't grow up in that community. You're not a Muslim. What are you talking about? You grew up in the same city, but what you're forgetting is we live in the very thing you love so much, a multicultural society. And in a multicultural society, the core tenet of multiculturalism is that we all live independent lives, each little different community and culture living separate lives, never integrating with each other. That is what multiculturalism is when you really get into it. And not only this, surely this Labour, but this is another reason why Labour Party do so miserably, okay? They're trying to have the cake and eat it. This is a white British Muslim, a white British woman who is trying to out-Muslim a Muslim. She's trying to tell him what his community should be doing, okay? But she's probably never even read the Holy Quran. I have, and obviously that man has, and on this issue we're obviously on the same page. The only one who isn't is Jess Phillips.
The Muslim community.
How come you have not supported the 300 parents who have been protesting here for the last 4 weeks? Where have you been?
I agree with the protest.
No, but you, as a member,
get to pick and
no,
choose
but as a member
which
of
equality
no, but as a member
you
of
can and can't
as,
have.
you have
Our
the same.
equality
You have-
laws
okay.
protect us all.
Okay.
I want them to protect you,
Okay.
and actually I want to. I fear that you are damaging the reputation of the.
Now, I'm not sure if you didn't hear what a Muslim woman said in the background, but she said you're not a member of the Muslim community, and that's true. What is she doing? Okay, what is Jess Phillips doing here? Right, she's not a member of the community. This is the mentality that woke leftists, Western people such as Jess Phillips have. They see themselves as saviours, as changers, as enlighteners, people who enlighten the quote-unquote barbarians. So you see, she backed off actually when they started saying you're not a member of the Muslim community, because she's not. She can't argue with that. She's trying to force, and this is what ties this in with this whole video, because they're going to be holding an LGBTQ rally, a gay pride rally for Muslims in London in April, okay? And this is what happened in Birmingham last year when they tried to force the schools, the madrasas, to teach this indoctrination to their children. And they all came out and said, no, absolutely not. You've got no right to do this. This is our community and our children, and we will teach them the way we want them to be taught, which is fair enough. I can understand that. I wouldn't want my children to be forced to learn something alien, and I don't actually hold it against him or them for wanting the same thing. I think the person who's in the wrong here is Jess Phillips.
Of the school and towards parents is coming across as Islamophobic.
What do you say to that, Jessica?
It's not Islamophobic.
It is, because it goes against their religion. That's what you don't understand, you stupid. You don't understand the people you're trying to represent. You don't understand the people you're trying to debate. You're a Muslimah. You're a typical Western Muslimah. A Western British woman who who claims to love Islam so much, yet you don't understand anything about the religion at all. If there's anyone here who's Islamophobic, it's you, Jess Phillips.
Mums, how is that Islamophobic?
Because it is against their religion, you foolish person.
The protesters claimed that 600 pupils didn't attend, but the school told us 35%, that's roughly 240 of their pupils didn't turn up. The teacher told me parents were being intimidated at the school gates.
There were a group of parents in various different positions around blocking the pavements.
Because they don't want people like you who are not part of their community trying to tell them how they should raise their own children. They don't want it. You wanted multiculturalism, so you got multiculturalism. In multicultural societies, people live vastly different lives along intersectional lines cut into the fabric of the country. These people have one particular belief set and the other people have another particular set of beliefs. And have you noticed how all of the teachers who are trying to force this onto them are not from the community themselves?
It asked them to move to
Sarah Hewitt-Clarkson feels the Department of Education is part of what's happening.
that parents tell schools what to do.
No. Parents are allowed to teach their children whatever they like. Your job as a teacher, you've forgotten your own job. You clearly think your role is to indoctrinate children. Your role is to teach them right from wrong and how to read and write, etc., etc. Your job's not to tell them what to think politically, or to tell them how, or to indoctrinate them into the ways of intersectionality. That's not what your job is. You've clearly forgotten what your job is. Okay, or you probably never knew in the first place. Anyway, I'm done with you now. Okay, this video is drawing to a close now, and what you can see on your screen behind you is the inevitable outcome for engaging in the activities of the alphabet community in the Islamic world. It's not nice, it's not called for, but at the end of the day, that is their culture. And the organisers of this event in London and the schools in Birmingham and anywhere else, and as a final footnote on that school issue where they were trying to force alphabet community doctrine onto Muslim pupils in Birmingham, there was a government drive to push this nationwide. They actually backtracked then. They received so much backlash, they actually backpedaled completely. And now, since then, the only schools that are implementing this are schools that are heavily non-Muslim. So that is yet another cultural gradient in which two different outcomes are taking place for two different communities. And apparently this is equality. It's not equality, it is multiculturalism. You guys who are proponents of multiculturalism, you've gotten exactly what you want. You wanted multiculturalism, you've got multiculturalism. You have to accept things like this if you accept that every culture is equal and every culture has a right to practice their own laws, customs and traditions as appropriate. The images you can see behind me are some people from the alphabet community in places like Iran and Palestine, etc., etc., who have paid the ultimate price for their sexuality. And at the end of the day, the people who are carrying these type of sentences out, the judges, the jury, the executioners, they are all people of the exact same mindset who now live in London. And I can tell you that of London's burgeoning population, over 1 million are now Muslims, and that includes both legal residents and people who are living there below the radar. I hope when this event happens in April, nothing bad happens, but I'm afraid what you're doing is similar to, or it's akin to, waving a red flag to a bull. Now, I'm not saying that you should back down in the face of it. I'm not saying you should appease them. What I am saying is this woke, it's just woke self-flagellation. It is a sacrifice to the altar of multiculturalism, and it is going to put regular Londoners in harm's way. If you wanted to have this type of event, by all means, if they're as tolerant as you claim they are, go and have it in Palestine or downtown Baghdad or Kabul. Of course, that won't happen now, will it? Because you know, and I know, you will all be lynched. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this situation in the comments below. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Let me know what you think. If you haven't yet, by all means subscribe and share this video, because YouTube heavily censors independent thinkers and independent creators such as yours truly. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.